What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We got an awesome guest today. We are here with John of Foscor. Thank you so much for your time today, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you. It's a privilege for me to be here in New York and having this chat with you, which is lovely.
Yeah, first time in New York?
First time in New York, first time in the United States, and we have been here for a long week. And sincerely, it has been a great time with my wife. And well, having the chance of speaking about the new album today, that we are streaming the full album, it's amazing. We are looking forward opening this new chapter.
Excellent. So the new album, El Sepulcros Blanks, sounds absolutely beautiful. Do you just want to talk about how the making of this record was and the recording and all that fun stuff?
Well, everything started before singing with Season of Mist in 2016. At that time, we were trying to deal with a new language, trying to personalize our speech to the world, our music, etc. After some albums where we just were touching some keys, but not in a coherent way. At that time, we were thinking which elements could be the most representative ones to work with from our past and from all the music that inspired us. Let's say that we found some key points and lines to follow in terms of music, in terms of concept, in terms of lyrics, and connect it with something that is so important to us, which is to connect our music and speech with our background and cultural behavior, let's say. So then we thought on kind of trilogy of albums led by a concept related with a cultural movement from a century ago called Modernisme from Catalonia. For this cultural movement, there were, let's say, like three premises that could describe the whole movement based on poetizing the world. We are not using that elements directly, but we are trying to translate it into the current days. So, musically talking, we picked up our always intense and dense music, opening it to other styles. We are people so open-minded. Sorry. And then we drew like a strategy from then on, which started with Les Irreals Visions in 2017, and now with El Sepulcres Blancs, it is a continuation, but developing and evolving even more that style.
Yeah. Well, what I find interesting is from reading about you guys is that there is kind of like a concept that ties this record in with the rest of your catalog. If somebody were to discover you guys on Les Sepulcres Blancs a little bit later, would it be easy? Would it be better for a listener to go back into your earlier catalog in order to fully understand the concept, or like if they listen to it consecutively?
I think that for us, 2017 album, the Les Irreals Visions, was like a new beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that the previous catalog has no sense or no importance, but at some point, someone entering to our world with this new album would be better to just take one step back to the previous album, and then later, if they want, dig into our previous catalog, just for realizing how we have been growing and evolving ourselves until being conscious about what could be the best tools to deal with. Mm-hmm. Connected to the previous question, we realized that if we wanted to be to speak to the world with a unique voice, we needed to offer something unique and singular. That's why we choose at that point in the previous album to sing all in Catalan, to connect our speech and lyrical and conceptual topic to our country, and again translate it into our current days, because at the end it doesn't speak about I don't know, fantasy dreamy worlds. It is it is trying to follow this concept of on poetizing the world, but related to what we are living in our land, and about the troubles and threats everyone is having in his life. And well, that's it. I think most people entering to our music from that album, the new one, should should perhaps rescue the previous one.
Okay. It's like a musical Lord of the Rings,
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
Now, does the concept that you address in your album, does that also determine the outcome of the music itself, or is it kind of like a separate entity?
No, in fact, we are trying to make like a complete work, join everything, all the parcels in one direction. For example, when we are speaking about lyrics, in that case, lyrics develop the second premise of that cultural movement that I was explaining before. But later, I could connect that second premise with the music in terms of how much calmer the music is compared to the previous album, for example. Let's explain how these premises work. The three premises are common things must acquire a new meaning, visual things a new secret appearance, and now we are in that premise. And then the third one, which will come with a future third album, would be that the already known should acquire the dignity of the unknown. These three premises, again, are related to a more poetical way to treat the world, because at the end this cultural movement was artistic.
Yeah.
That artist thought that through the art they might change the world. They felt not belonging to a sick society they were living in, and at some point I thought that something similar is happening now. We are dealing with a lot of troubles, issues all around, and everything affects us. That's why we are trying to express ourselves through music and try to inspire people and ourselves for improving and getting that change. So the second premise is what the one speaking about how the dream world, the more intimate state of individuals, could be the excuse to imagine that change. At the first album, with the first premise, we were like detecting the weaknesses of the world, the weaknesses of humans. Now we are dealing with how to overcome that and imagine that change. And with the third album, we will react, we will act. The action will happen.
Wow.
That's the general approach.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. It's like both it's like metaphysical and metaphorical as well, but also very literal. Now, could your music also still be open to interpretation, or are you trying to maybe engage the listener into maybe seeing things from your point of view?
Well, first of all, we are conscious that singing in Catalan makes not easy things for the listener. So at some point, yes, it's opened for interpretation, of course. As we are trying to put all this concept in all the band's parcels, on visual terms, on lyrical terms, on music terms, and at some point, at some level, people could interpret our music as they want and as they wish. We are just offering emotional music and trying to connect with people, like trying to reach a new dialogue to the world and with ourselves. First of all, our music serves us to be conscious of who we are, because the music speaks of ourselves. And at the end, perhaps just feeling, try people to learn, more than learning, know about ourselves, our country, our way to see the world. So it's open, but yeah.
Yeah. With coming from Catalonia, what I find unique is because there's such a great culture in all of Spain with, with visual art and music. Is there like a metal scene that kind of Foscor is associated with, or is it not as prevalent as it is in some areas?
Probably we should say that Spain is the the country in Europe with less tradition in terms of metal scene compared to whatever you want.
Sweden.
Sweden, Germany. I'm playing in other bands, and I'm visiting and dealing a lot with countries like Germany, etc., with long tradition in metal terms. I think that Spain has a big problem with because not having references. Nowadays things are changing, but not in terms of having references, but examples on how overcome the hidden potentiality during many decades. We have level mates like Obsidian Kingdom, Alter Age, coming from Spain, of course, and they are dealing and offering very unique voice creations, I think that, for example, let's speak about Portugal, which are our neighbors. They have Moonspell.
Yeah.
Okay, only having one band like this, probably Spain could be could reach another level earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one question I really like to ask artists is, because it's always the hardest question: how do you know when a song is done?
Wow. Yeah. Well, our composing strategy starts by doing a lot of demo songs. We try to reduce the elements to choose from. First, just delivering riffs, ideas, complementing that with voices, with vocal lines, etc. We are cutting and reducing the list of songs until we have the most concrete ones. Probably we cannot end a song. We can never end a song, but at some point you have the schedule in mind. You have some goals to reach in terms of not only time, but the feeling the music is giving you. And with this album, for example, it was faster than with the previous one. Probably because we are controlling much better the tools we are working with. Probably. That's why a second album might confirm what we started with the previous one. And yes, we are much confident, more confident in terms of using open-minded style, how to work with that softer and calmer language in terms of music. That's it.
Yeah. And the final question I wanted to ask you, you were really good at answering that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, it's like, when we get the final mix, that's the easiest default. But you've talked about a lot of your sources of inspiration, and I feel like for an artist, inspiration is like air. It's all around us, and it's within us. Are you looking internally as a source of inspiration, or is this also sort of like an external thing? Because some artists work better in isolation without their band. Some people work better with their band. So I'm just curious to what is like the pinnacle moment to where you want to write a song about the subject matter?
In our case, everything starts always with a concept, and at that point, my role is so important because I lead where everything should arrive. Later, there are the both guitar players who are in charge of all the composing area, and I'm only in charge of vocals, lyrics, and the whole concept. We are not looking for inspiration in terms of watching what the market or the scene is developing at that moment. For example, in my case, I'm just dealing with reading history of art, aesthetical philosophy, reading poems and then finding the moment. It's just as when we are walking through the street and you find something, a spot you like, and for any reasons it inspires you, and there is an idea coming to your mind. Something like that happened in 2017 when I found that strategy and three premises that are now leading all this new period and making everything easier. But from that point on, it's easier for the rest of the guys to to find the right connection in terms of music with the concept, and what to search, where to search, we're searching the right emotions to express with music. For example, in that case, all that kind of dreamy wall I was talking about could change the wall, or it makes everyone to look for a more dense and atmospheric approach to the music, for example. Mm-hmm. So from a concept, we are trying to then draw the rest of the parcels, aesthetically, musically, and later, of course, on visuals, on concerts, etc. Everything has to do with the same.
Wow, that was beautiful right there.
Thank you so much.
I almost feel like that could be the lyrics. Yeah. So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today, and welcome to New York. Is there just anything else you would like to promote for this brand new record in terms of shows or anything like that?
Well, I would love to be here promoting some kind of visit to the States during the next year. We have nothing developed yet. We are now concentrating our efforts in terms of live dates in Europe. We are now working with Doomstar Bookings, which I'm pretty sure that will increase our presence on stage, something that we had some lack of mm-hmm. live presence during the previous album. Just inviting people to enter in our world and try to dialogue with us in terms of emotions. Just inviting people.
Oh, well,
that's it.
We hope to see you here again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. We are here with Joan of Foscor. Els Sepulcres Blancs. Did I get it right?
Els Sepulcres Blancs.
Els Sepulcres Blancs.
That's fine.
Yep. Out on Season of Mist, September 6th. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.